I like it. So I'm turning north again on Highway 81. We're out here on the northwest side of Chickasha. Looks like this light is out. Has been for a while. I got the trash can with stop signs on it sitting in the middle. And we're off. I got 308 miles to go before I can sleep tonight. And it's noon. That means basically if I screw around and fiddle fart around, it's going to take me 6 hours to get up there. And I'm going to screw around and fiddle fart around because this is something I've got to do, but it's not something I have to be all serious and cranky about. You know, I don't have to put on my ace pilot goggles and drive like a bat out of hell. I can just piddle along and get there in plenty of time. That is what I'm going to do. I know, I hit the rumble strip. Bill will notice that if I'm talking on the phone to Bill, he'll hear it. He'll be like, get over in your lane. He'll scold me for, hitting the rumble strip. Oh, all this plowed ground out here makes me want to go out there and look for arrowheads. Dang it. You know, if I could retire and have enough money that we didn't have to work, that I didn't have to work, and I had time to do it and could travel, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be kicking around looking for arrowheads all over the place. That would be really fun to me. That and rocks, looking for rocks and arrowheads. I can't leave out rocks because I'll drive a long way to find a certain kind of rocks. You know, if there's some special thing, it's like going up into Wyoming a couple years ago. We went up with my sister and her husband to get moss agates. And we went, a few years ago, we were out in Arizona visiting my brother. So we stopped up somewhere near the Grand Canyon. There was an area up there you could pick up obsidian. So we did that. Picked up a boatload of Apache tears in Arizona. Just going out and getting them. You know, that's the most fun way to me to get rocks. I don't normally buy rocks. To me, it's something that, you know, you go out and you earn it by hunting for it and finding it, and then you have it, you know. Although I bought one rock in particular in the last 10 or so years, and it was a piece of purple fluorite I bought from a guy down in Comanche, Oklahoma, who has a rock shop down there. I don't even know if he's still alive because he was really old and pretty decrepit at that time. But my brother and I, Wes, went in there. I got two brothers. I got one named Wes and one named John. John lives in Arizona. Wes lives in Colorado. And Wes is the one that does the road videos, driving around in the snow. But he was down visiting, so we went into the rock shop down there one time, and I bought it from this guy, and he wasn't charging me enough for it. He should have charged me more, and it seemed like he said something, and I said, well, why don't I give you, and I upped it a little bit because it seemed like it was way too cheap. But I don't think he got much business in there, and I'm not even sure if he's still alive or if it's even still a rock shop anymore. Now when I go by, there's a bunch of vehicles in the yard, so I have no clue. But normally I don't buy rocks, I go out and find them. It's kind of like the paying to look for arrowheads thing. I've done that once and it was a boatload of fun. It was awesome. but it's not something that I do or plan to do very often, because I found most of my arrowheads I found without having to go pay anybody to hunt, you know. So we're still on Highway 81. We'll run 81 clear up into Kansas. And I don't think I've ever run the very upper end of Highway 81, so that'll be a new deal today. But we got a ways to go before we get up there, because we got to get clear up to El Reno first, and then up through Enid. And then north of Enid is where it changes, and it's not like a major highway then. So this should be relatively interesting. Be new ground I haven't covered, I think. Of course, getting around Wichita is going to be some kind of a deal. And I really don't want to get on the interstate up there either. It's also a turnpike. I'm just not wanting to pay any turnpike rates this trip. And if I don't have to do it, I'm not going to. So I've already decided my path to get down to Willis, Texas, where I'm going to be delivering this trailer. If I don't come home, I'm going to run down the east side, past Dallas, down through Athens and Crockett, down that way, and stay off of the I-35 or I-45 corridors altogether. If I end up coming home, I'll do it a little differently. I'll run down through Fort Worth, and then probably just end up going ahead and getting on 45 and going down. But I'll come back a different route. I'll cut across, I think through Mejia, and over through Hillsboro, come back that way. So, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It depends on how it goes tomorrow, what time I get back down in that part of the world, and whether or not I want to just keep going or go home for the night. So, we'll see. I'll probably end up going home. I think that's probably a good bet, but I won't be coming back down the 35 corridor anyway. I'll come down on the east side of it on 177 over to Paul's Valley, and then cut across to home if I do that. So it's where the extra 60 miles comes in. It'll add 60 miles to my trip if I do go home tomorrow night. That's all okay. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. This is Pocasset, Oklahoma, that we're coming up on. The Pocasset Cemetery. It's really nice not to be in a hurry. I'm enjoying it immensely. I like driving. That's one of the reasons that I do this job, because I really enjoy driving. You know, it's fun for me. You know, I like seeing the scenery. I like looking at different things, not seeing the same old thing all the time, you know. I get bored. So So I stopped the other day. I don't know if you'll see this video or not, but I stopped the other day out at the Duncan Y because the last time I tried to buy DEF fluid out there in bulk at the pump, I couldn't make the pump work, and I went in and told the girl, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I can't get DEF out of these pumps. Are you out? She's like, well, do you have the spout thing? I'm like, what spout thing? She's like, she held up this little deal. She says, this thing, you got to put this over the spout so it'll pump. So I still don't know exactly how this thing works, but I ordered one because it's a magnet. It fits over the DEF pump spout, and then you stick the spout in your tank, which doesn't make any sense to me except it's a magnet. So for some reason, if this magnet is on there, it will pump, and if it's not, it won't. And I guess the reason that they have this for it is because some people have been dumb enough to put the DEF fluid spout into their diesel tank instead of the DEF tank. And so there's been some problems with that. So they made this thing that will, you have to intentionally put it on there to make DEF flow so that you don't accidentally put DEF in your diesel, I guess is the thinking behind it. So makes no sense to me why nobody has said anything about this. This is not something that you see at any diesel stop where they sell bulk DEF. You don't see this anywhere. And I've run certain DEF pumps like back east that there's no constraint on them. You just stick them in and fill it up. You know, it's like it works the way you would think it would. But evidently there are some people who have screwed it up for the rest of us. So they've made the newer DEF pumps where you have to have this adapter that's a magnet to prove that you're not putting this in your diesel tank or something. I don't understand. You know, I mean, to me, if you're that stupid, what's going to say that you're going to be smart enough to still put that in your DEF tank instead of your diesel tank anyway? Magnet or no magnet. I don't know. I don't get it, but you've got to have this stupid thing. So I looked high and low on the internet, and with shipping it was like $62 to get one of these. So I went ahead and ordered one for this truck because there are several places I've tried to get diesel that I could never make the pumps work, and it's really frustrating, you know. So anyway, now I know. I don't know why, but I know. I know that I need it. I don't know why I need it, but I know that I do. So hopefully that'll get here sometime next week, and I can keep it in here, and next time I stop at one of these places I'll be able to pump my fuel without having to fight with it. Which that's really all I want to do, you know, is be able to fill it up, not fuel DEF. See, I'm confusing the two in my mind. That's not good. Am I going to be one of those dumbasses that goes and sticks the DEF thing in the diesel tank? Nah, probably not. Yeah, everything's color coordinated, so it's like for diesel pumps, most diesel pumps, I should say, most diesel pumps in the United States are green. However, having said that, I have also seen yellow ones and black ones out east. So evidently it's not universal, but it should be. It kind of simplifies things. Well, all of these DEF pumps are blue. They're kind of like baby blue. You know, the cap on my DEF tank is baby blue. So, you know, you should be able to figure that out. If nothing else, you know, if the colors don't match, don't put it in. You know? Before I replaced my diesel tank cap with a locking cap, because diesel's expensive and people will steal it, my regular diesel cap was green. So, but yeah, but since I stay in motels, I don't keep it locked all the time, but when I stay in a motel, I will lock it, just to make it a little harder. You know, somebody wants your diesel, they're going to figure out a way to steal it if they have to, cut into your tank or whatever, which I hope nobody ever does that. That would piss me off. They ruin my tank or get the hose going to the tank or something. But people want to steal your stuff, they will, but there's nothing says you have to make it really simple for them to do it. Because 9 times out of 10, and I know this from practical experience, plus being a cop, if you just put a lock on something, a lot of times they'll pass it by and go on to something that's not that complicated. Most of these guys who are out here stealing stuff, they're opportunistic thieves. And if you make it easy for them, they're really appreciative. They'll take you up on it. But if you just put one barrier in their way, even one simple little barrier, oftentimes that's enough that they'll just leave you alone and go on by, look for the next easy mark. So well, that's a pretty house. So we're getting into Minko. I'm not sure if this is the Canadian River that runs through here. This is a big floodplain. I think it is a Canadian. We'll find out here in a minute. Nope, it's Buggy Creek, sorry. Still a big floodplain. Must be a good, well-fed creek. So Minko is another famous speed trap in this part of the world. We've got Rush Springs and we've got Minko, both speed traps. So if you ever find yourself traveling through Minko, Oklahoma, don't speed. Do yourself a favor. Don't get a ticket. Because if you do speed, you will get a ticket. Odds are. They've got a pretty conscientious traffic control program here. Okay, I'm going to take my mic off and eat my egg bites. Alright, so got my egg bites eaten. I'm happy. This is Union City, Oklahoma. Still on Highway 81. Also a speed trap. Not that you'd know it or anything. So our next town will be El Reno. We'll cross Interstate 40 up here in a few miles. Oh, it's like 7 or 8 miles up here. We'll cross that and then head on up through El Reno. And by God, I'm going through downtown El Reno today. I've never been through downtown exactly. I've always followed the specified route. I'm going to find out what's down here today. So you can find out with me. If you've never done it, then we'll both be figuring something new out. Tourist speed today. I'm not running get the job done speed, so that's why I'm not too concerned about time or taking these little scenic bypasses that I seem to be wanting to do today. When I lost my mic. But I have it back back on it. So I can see I-40 up there. I can see the traffic moving on I-40. Wonder where I'm looking straight ahead down the road and then off to the left too. You can see it in a couple of spots. Wish this thing would sit level. It's a big complaint I have about this. beanbag mount. It shifts around and it gets off kilter. Drives me crazy. I mean, you know, if you think about it, this isn't all that bad of a job. I mean, the hardest thing I do these days is hitch up a trailer or fix the truck on the side of the road occasionally. It's not very labor intensive work, and this part of it is just flat out enjoyable because all I'm doing is just driving around like everybody else, you know. It's pretty awesome, actually. I will be glad to get the Ford back, though. I'm about tired of driving this Dodge. It's just too big. It's too big and sloppy feeling to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful that we have it, and I have the option to keep working while the Ford's in the shop. But I really miss my Ford. I like that truck better than any truck I've ever had. Any work truck I've ever had. I actually like my personal Ford equally as well. Maybe even a little bit more for, like, you know, personal use. Maybe not, though. I don't know. You know, I'm debating keeping that. I think I'm just going to keep the red Ford once I actually do retire and just use it for whatever, you know, run into town or whatever. I mean, it's not a fuel economical vehicle. You know, it's not good in that sense, but I really like driving it. I like all the things that I can use it for. Like, I can pull our travel trailer with it. I can pull the backhoe with it. Backhoe trailer, the backhoe. There's a lot of stuff I can use it for that I just never really thought about too much. All the stuff that I use the white Ford now for, I can do. Going and picking up stuff, you know, whatever. It's got that nice flatbed on it, so I can put stuff on it, sheetrock or whatever. Okay. So up here's where I'm going to go straight. I usually go left here and follow Highway 81, but I want to see what's up here. I'm curious. I'm going to go look. Just going to go look. This is going to be a side of El Reno I've never yet seen. No through trucks. That's why I've never been through here when I've got like a trailer on, because I don't know what they got up in here that they don't want you, if they got some tight turns or like a courthouse square or something that they don't want you trying to drag a truck across or whatever. I'm going to go take a look. Just so you know, if you're not familiar with the term a through truck, they're talking about semi-trucks, tractor trailers. When they have a sign saying no trucks, that's what they mean. There's some reason they don't want big trucks in this area, whether it's a tight turn or traffic, or they don't want the damage to the city streets or whatever. Who knows? But for some reason they don't want big trucks coming in here. That does not apply to a 1-ton pickup. Although I'm considered a truck, technically for trucking purposes, for road sign purposes, I'm considered a pickup or a passenger vehicle by size. Unless I'm pulling something, that makes it, changes that in some way. Yeah, I've never ever been through this part of El Reno. Okay, so it appears that probably goes right into town. I'm going to go ahead and go that way. I think this is just going to circumvent town. Okay, caution, low clearance, 12.6, no trucks. Okay, that's why. That's a no truck route. Your average semi-truck is somewhere around 13 feet 6 inches tall at the most. Those are your non-oversized ones. That's how tall they can be. So this is obviously 12 foot 6 inches. A semi-truck tractor trailer is not going to get under this if they're that tall. So I answered my own question. The sign answered my question, actually. So now I understand. And it may be that there's another one up at the other end here, somewhere that has a similar height restriction or something. Who knows? There will be occasions that I'll haul something that's, 12 foot 6. Some of those giant horse trailers are that tall. I should say I used to haul some that were that tall. I probably won't ever haul anything that big again, because I've sized myself out of all that stuff, thank God. Oh, that's a pretty house. This yellow house here, nice. Really nice. This puts us back on the main road that I'm used to. And we're going to go right through the center of town too, since this brought us into the edge. I want to see what's down here downtown as well. School's on ahead. Well, school's out today, isn't it? It's Sunday. Finicky people. They got some pretty old houses here in El Reno along this road. Okay, that's a church. I was going to say, that's a big building. And it is. It's a big church building. So I usually would go left here, but I'm going to go right on through, go into the actual downtown area. This is also a first. I've never been down in here. Okay, and it's hard to tell if they've got a very lively downtown or not because it's Sunday, but I'm not seeing too much going on. A little bit. Now they got some of a downtown. Not what I would call thriving maybe, but not dead either. Somewhere in the middle. we've got a railroad track running right through the middle, so I don't know if that's like for an actual railroad or if that was for a streetcar at one time. You know, did El Reno have streetcars? Maybe so, because it runs right down the middle of the roads. Okay, I think I'm going to cut on over to the highway now. I'll make a left here. Another neat old house. It's a brick one. Okay, back to the highway. Well, that was pretty interesting. I'm always curious about what goes on in these little towns. I mean, El Reno's not exactly a little bitty town, but it's not as big of a town as I thought it was either. I would have thought it would have been quite a bit bigger. So the good thing is, the farther north I go, the cheaper diesel's getting. I've seen it for $3.49 in one spot, $3.59 here. I've still got 3/4 of a tank. I haven't burned hardly any because I've been taking it easy. So it's not sucking it down like it would be if I was driving 75 or whatever. I do always like to have a full tank when I stop and pick up a trailer, but when it's a single trailer, it's not that critical, especially when it's not a giant single trailer. You know, I had a pretty good look at everything they had up there the last time I went and picked up, and they didn't have anything very massive. They didn't have like the giant living quarters ones. They do mostly the stock and horse trailers, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want to be hauling. So, yeah, my broker hit it out of the park on this one. This is a great way to start the week. Would have been a great way to end last week, but that's okay. It's a great way to start this week. And I'm all over it. Neat looking old barn. An old Ford sitting out in front of it. That's considerably older than my Ford by about 40 years, I would say. North Canadian River. Okay, so this is where we cross the North Canadian, obviously. Plenty of water in it. We've had a lot of water this year already, this winter. A lot of rain. Some snow. I checked the forecast and I didn't see anything concerning in the next couple of days of weather from northern Kansas down to southern Texas, so that's all good, I think. I didn't check it this morning, but I checked yesterday. Guy, you just cruise. So there's a giant casino up here. Well, I don't know how giant it is, but there's a casino up here. Pretty good sized one. Something that you'll see sprinkled all over Oklahoma. And they are native owned, all of them. It's the only kind of casinos we have in Oklahoma. $3.95 on their diesel. They're not even low on diesel. A lot of times the casinos will have a good deal on diesel to get you to come on in, but here lately I haven't been seeing too much of that. So maybe they've figured out it doesn't translate into more gamblers. I think I'm going to listen to the radio a while, and I'm just going to let this run. And if I see something noteworthy, I'll chime back in. So we're still northbound on Highway 81, and we're just getting ready to meet up with Highway 3, and which will combine with 81 for a while. But our next town should be the place with the cinnamon rolls. Okarche, maybe? I think so. There's a neat barn. Like that. One of these days I plan to take up painting barns again. I started doing it a few years ago and then I got sidetracked. And I just haven't got back into it, but one day maybe I will. Guess I ought to do something to leave something physical in this world when I go, you know. And of course, I may go in 10 minutes, who knows. But if I'm still here 20 years from now, it would be nice to leave something behind to mark that I was here anyway. I think everybody kind of probably feels that way a little bit. Mennonite Bridge. We do have Mennonites and Amish in Oklahoma, just not whole giant communities like you would see back in Pennsylvania, to a lesser degree. In fact, my mom and dad had some Mennonite guys up in Colorado, up in Craig, that did their yard work for them, that came and mowed for them. So by that point, Dad was, his health was failing and he was in his 80s. But they found this Mennonite company that would come in. They'd bring 2 or 3 or 4 guys, and they'd come in and have their yard looking wonderful in like half an hour or less. They got in there and kicked butt. They just got in, got it done, got out. Did a really good job on it. That was my other job option that I thought up. I could take my zero-turn mower and go mow yards. Those guys make quite a bit of money, but it's hard, hot, dirty, nasty work, even with the equipment they've got, because even with all those riding mowers and stuff, because in this part of the world, you kick up so much dust, and it's already hot, maybe 110 degrees outside, and you're already sweating and sticky. And then you kicked up a cloud of dust, and you're just coated with all kinds of dirt, dust, grass stuff, who knows what all, fleas, whatever. And you got to work like that all day. And I know just from mowing my own place, this is Okarche we're getting into, just from mowing our own place, after I mow the yard, I go in and I have to rinse off before I can even get in the bathtub, because I got about 10 pounds of dirt on me. So it's like, I don't know that I would want to make my entire living doing that. Although if I had to do it, I would. But it's also very seasonal. So, I don't know what you would do in the winter when it's no longer lawn mowing season. Guess you have to figure out something else. And we don't really have snow down here to plow. So it's not like Colorado where you can go back and forth between the two. So for my intents and purposes, this is a much better career option. Much better. I mean, I still do have to get out and work in the heat on occasion. I did more last year. I probably won't do it anywhere near as much this year, because not doing the stacks and things. So I won't be out crawling all over stacks of trailers, tying them down in 110 degree heat at 6 in the morning. But, that's kind of nice. I'm glad I'm not going to be doing that this year. I'm glad I did it, though, last year. A couple reasons. I mean, I cleared enough money to buy the Ford cash. And I also proved to myself that I could do it if I needed to. And that's actually worth something to me. Proving to myself that I can do this stuff. Building self-confidence. There's nothing wrong with that. World's most famous cinnamon rolls. They're closed today anyway, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't all that impressed with their cinnamon rolls, to be honest. My mom made a lot better cinnamon rolls than that. I make better cinnamon rolls than that. And I don't make them half as good as Mom did. I don't make them anymore anyway. The last time I made cinnamon rolls was probably 15 years ago. I would guess. Maybe longer than that. I don't need to be eating cinnamon rolls. That's why I don't make them roly-poly enough without that. That looks suspiciously like a graduation robe that kid was carrying. Is it already that time of year? It's getting close, huh? Mid-March, April, May. I guess they end school here in April. Well, it might be May. I'm gonna have to ask my sister-in-law. She'll know. She works for a school. She's a cafeteria lady. She loves her job. She gets to hang out with kids. She's big on that. This is interesting. I'm going to basically be paralleling Interstate 35 all the way up. It's going to always be probably 50 miles to my east, 30 to 50 miles, until I get up pretty close to Interstate 70 and I'll cross under it or over it, one of the two, and continue on up to Abilene. So this whole trip for me, all of this is going to be new scenery once I get up north of Enid. And that's not too awful far up here. Oh my gosh, this road is ratty. Very bumpy road. I knew it though before I decided to come this way. Pretty sure I'm the person who said I'd rather have a bumpy road than an interstate. Yes, I pretty much did say that. Well, I got the bumpy road all right. This is ridiculous. Whew. Good. At least it's not continually bumpy the whole time. You do get some breaks in between the really bumpy sections. An airplane up there. See, I'm trying to think what the next town is. It might be Hennessy. I don't have the towns memorized up through here so much. Okay, so I threatened to do it a half an hour ago and I kept talking, so I'm going to quit talking and listen to the radio and just keep driving.